Slangin The Bizkit, episode 33. We are back. Well, I'm back. Last week, I don't know who I was podcasting with, but I know it was not Pat Shea, my regular co-host. I'm happy to have him back. Mr. Shea, reveal yourself. Where have you been?
It is good to be back. I'm getting my pre-workout in. I'm a hockey player again. So I was busy last week with things. I had better things to do than like talk to Trav, you know? I actually didn't really have an excuse. He texted me. He's like, yo, what time are we going today for the podcast? I said, no. And that was it. and he did an interview with Dylan Kelly. I'm refusing to watch it. You know, I'm sure it's a great interview. I'm sure he's a great guest, but I'm refusing to watch it. I'm boycotting it. I was just pissed about it. But
actually, the text that I got back was podcast. We don't do a podcast together anymore.
Dude, I was pissed because you were getting a lot of steam. You were getting a lot of heat in the public eye, and I was like, fuck, I can't be associated with this guy. No. I'm moving on. Which, now that I brought it up, let's talk about it.
Yes, great transition. Week. Okay.
It was
you go ahead.
The Puck Empire. Apparently is a pretty well-known. How many followers does he have?
60,000, 70,000.
Yeah, pretty well-known account. He essentially just like reposts like news about hockey.
He's a repost account.
Yeah, nothing. He's not talented in any way, but
no,
he's a repost account, and he caught a beef with Trav for whatever reason. Made him get his feathers all riled up. But he was heated, and he posted a picture of Trav, and Trav called me, and I'll let you take it from here. But I got a call from Trav essentially saying, "Yo, did you see this Puck Empire post?" And then I went over, but let me hear from your point of view what happened with this Puck Empire dude.
Yeah, so basically this Puck Empire dude on Instagram, he made a post about me and was like, did you know that Travis Ridgen, also known as Trav Waters, has a lifetime save percentage of an 888? And I saw that, and then right away, because I started getting tagged, I started getting likes, I started getting follows, I called Pat. I was like, did you see this? And he's like, uh-oh, what happened? I'm like, no, this is good for business. This is great for business. Yeah. Was that not the exact same thing I said? The first thing I said was, this is good for business.
You were excited about it. You were pumped. So stoked. I was confused. I forget where I was coming from. I might have been at a men's league game, which is funny. But yeah, I get a call from Trav. He's like, yo, did you see what's going on? I'm getting absolutely roasted online. This is awesome. I'm like, why is this awesome? He's like, because it's fucking great for business. I just posted my ad on my page. Like, I'm gonna make sales. People are going over my page so they're gonna watch. I'm gonna get views. And your link in your bio had like response to Puck Empire 1, 2, 3, like all these links in your bio. So if they clicked the link, it said they would have clicked the video thinking you responded to Puck Empire.
Yeah, because I posted like 5 ads. So I posted an ad for the supplement company I work with. I posted Manscaped, all this kind of stuff, and then I put a black screen on my Instagram stories. So you knew I was serious. If for those that are asking what the Puck Empire posts about me, please refer to my Instagram story for my official response, or my Instagram bio. You tap my bio, it takes you to my link tree, and it goes through all my links. And I literally took all my links, like my Manscaped link, my Beyond Yourself link, and I just relabeled them to Puck Empire 1, Puck Empire 2, Puck Empire 3. So if you clicked on them, you're listening to the podcast. You clicked on number 3, you're watching that day's vlog. You clicked on number 6, you're buying a lawnmower. You're confirming your purchase for a lawnmower. It was great for business. And I picked up like 200 followers. So yeah, that was my Thursday night.
There was a lot of heated people. Like, they were just mad at you, roasting. I think what he said was, when Trav is not your least favorite person on Instagram, he's also letting in a lot of goals or something.
Yes.
And a lot of people in the comments were just essentially like, yep, fuck this guy, worst guy on the internet. Then there's like your fans going in like, don't see you playing hockey, still like all getting your back. But very, very entertaining to look through, which I guess it stemmed a bit from you've been on a commenting spree, and I didn't even realize you've been commenting
on everything.
And so I have to ask, because I saw a comment that I thought was questionable by you, and I wanted to bring it up. I forget exactly what you said, but you tagged me in it.
Yeah.
And it was when Gabriel, what's his name? Kurtis Gabriel?
Yes.
He got was it traded? I think he might have got traded or re-signed or something. And you essentially said, like, I wonder where, and you tagged his girlfriend, is going to do Instagram.
Yes, because Kurtis Gabriel is dating Michaela DeMater. Kurtis Gabriel, nail gun tough guy, formerly for the San Jose Sharks, just an absolute nail gun.
Oh, he's a beast.
Oh, he would kick our lights in, no problem. Anyway,
That was my point. So
Yes.
that I had to ask, like, do you fear that? Like, where do you draw your line of comments? Where like now because he could very well see that, or she could have seen that because you're a verified account.
Yes, I am.
She could have been insulted by it in a way. Maybe he would have got pissed off.
First
Does
off,
that concern you?
She has so many followers because she's at over 1 million now. And I don't think she's seeing that comment with the amount of comments and DMs she's getting from
chance
desperate. You know what I mean? Like that's not popping up. As far as Kurtis Gabriel goes, I'm not really worried about him. Showing up my doorstep to punch me out. Like I've met the guy. I've talked to him. Seems like a decent guy. Yeah, I've met him twice. I met him twice in London about 2 years ago. Did I ever tell you that or no?
Right.
Yeah.
You actually, now that you say it, I think you did tell me when he was like yelling at us.
Yeah, yeah. So he DM'd me to yell at us about us shitting on women's hockey and that it's not marketed properly, and then also that I suck. I'm just kidding. He actually didn't tell me that I sucked, but no, like I'm not really worried about that. Like also, what, the one thing that I found kind of interesting is that Kurtis Gabriel was talking the other day about how and I hope Kurtis doesn't show up my doorstep for talking about this, but he talks about trying to add some value to the community and like changing the way people think about hockey, changing the culture, changing it so it's more inclusive.
Yeah.
Whether you're gay, straight, lesbian, white, black, Chinese, whatever you are, the game is more inclusive, which is great. And trying to kill that misogynistic old school approach of like, hey, you boys, you won't believe what I did last night before the game, like that kind of mentality. Like they're just canning that. But his woman, who he told me in person last year, and I hope I'm not screwing this up, she's making about 15 G's, 20 G's every month, makes a living off of that mentality. Isn't that kind of ironic that he's against that and he's trying to change the culture of the hockey community, but that's how she makes her bread and butter to make her living, is by exposing guys like that to buy things that she sells or promotes.
Yeah, no, because her audience is clearly like horny guys.
100% those desperate dudes.
Which is the case with a lot of those females, and unless you want to sell yourself, it becomes harder to profit. Like you see like a girl a lot of times with like hundreds of thousands of followers, and like they're getting an ad from, say, like a female underwear company, right? Mm-hmm. They're not selling a single pair of underwear because their audience is a bunch of horny dudes who just want to see them in bikinis. So that it's a problem. Like, and nowadays, yeah, you can make an OnlyFans and stuff like that, premium sites and shit, but like that is up to the person if they want to do that. It's just an interesting
have you noticed a lot of them are changing more towards selling men's products? Like Michaela DeMater, she promotes products for men's, like, hey, you like me, shave your bush, you like me, buy this men's underwear. Like it's very smart marketing. I'm fascinated by this marketing.
That's the good move. That's what they should be doing, because you have to know your audience.
Absolutely. So you and I talked about this, I think, privately. I don't think we put this in the podcast, but so when I got verified, the first thing I did was what, Pat Shea?
What did you do? Did you comment on people's?
I posted about it. 1, 2, I applied to a talent agency to try to get a manager, try to get an agent.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I can't believe you forgot about. I can't believe you did. Anyway, so I reached out to this one agency based out of Toronto, and I'm just trying to like get my feet in the water, kind of understand how this works, because I've never had a manager before. I see all these big dogs have them, but I don't. And our boy Michael Downey's like, you got to get a manager, dude. It's gonna make your life easier. Like other guys that I've talked to, you need to get a manager or somebody to get these deals for you, so you can just focus on doing stuff. And I'm like, well, I'll look into it. So I'm talking to this agency, and turns out they take 20% off the top. Whatever you make, they make 20% off.
Too much.
That's a big chunk of the pot. And then also,
no, it's supposed to be like 5% or 3 to 5% or something.
They're taking 20. This agency specifically in Toronto, they're taking 20% off the top of all influencer deals. And then also, they will or won't sign you depending on how many deals they can get. So for them to sign you with this agency, you need to be pulling in a minimum of $5,000 of influencer profits, or I guess income, every month. So I have to do $5,000 of ads. They're like, can you do this? And I'm like, well, unless you're charging $5,000 an ad, probably not. No, I can't do that.
Yeah,
like, that's a lot of ads.
Extreme.
And I'm assuming most of them are charging $1,000, $2,000 for an ad. Like I don't know how I could ever produce at that level, because like I'm not a fit chick where I just sit on Instagram all day. I make hockey videos. You do the same thing. So it's a very weird dynamic. Yeah. Speaking of weird, should we do our shout outs and viewers of the week before we get too much into bicycle spokes and the Instagram fit chick community?
Yeah, sure. Do a few shout-outs.
Okay.
Shouts.
So, so we have 3 this week. So, first off, I just want to give a shout-out to Kyle Anderson on IG. He sent Pat and I a message, real nice message. The guy's working his way through school, I believe. I hope I didn't screw up these notes because this is going to be awkward if the one guy's working his way through school and the other guy's just shitting on me all the time. Anyway, Kyle, wishing you the best. Thanks for the love, brother. Number 2, we got Cody Dooley. This guy literally has been taking giant dumps on me on Instagram all week, actually all month. And I finally told him, I said, listen, buddy, if you listen to the podcast, I like to hear your opinion. You haven't taken a dump on me for the podcast. He said, okay, what happens if I listen? I said, I'll make you viewer of the week. Deal. So he's
turning a hater into a fan.
So he said he was going to listen. I told him to listen to the Wall Star, the DK episode, and he'll be the viewer for this week's episode. So, Duels, shout out to you, buddy. You're the commenter of the week. Sorry. And we have a huge viewer of the week, DoorDash Pete. By the way, do you take beef with DoorDash Pete because he's not an Uber driver? He's a DoorDash driver, or no?
No, I dash as well.
Oh, okay. So you're part of the family. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to play the audio through the mic here, and I'm going to put the video version on the screen. I'm going to have to do some cutting because it's a little bit of a long call, but take a listen.
What up, boys? Listening to the little episode right now. You guys a good guest. Just wanted to make some fucking points to you guys. I played a little junior hockey in Peoria, Illinois. Could you say I probably was scratched more than I played? Yeah, that's all right. A couple similarities is I'm 6'5", a little heavier than your guest DK on. But it was funny because I played against the Metro Jets. They were an absolute wagon. 2 little fucking connect the dot actions with the podcast this
connect
week.
The dots.
And, yeah, love the content. Keep it up, boys. Let's fucking go.
Just belches.
That's the best part.
DoorDash Pete.
Everything was good. He could
it.
have done absolutely nothing productive for the first 60 seconds, and the final 3 seconds of that call is what
just lets a burp go.
DoorDash Pete, I know you watched the video version. After you listen to the audio version, shout out to you, buddy. God bless you and your petite dancers figured 6'5", buddy. We love you. Thank you so much for the love. On a side note, on a more serious note, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for listening to the audio version and to the video version. Like the podcast has been growing a little bit lately. I absolutely love doing the podcast. Like I know, playing hockey and doing the vlog is my thing, and Pat, same thing on his end. But for me personally, I don't know about Pat. You can speak about this in a sec. But like this podcast is that one thing a week that I seriously look forward to doing and talking about things and engaging with people. So to everybody who's been listening, watching, thank you so much. We can't do it without you.
Yeah, for sure. It's been picking up steam. Actually, I texted you the other day. I was like, yo, the audio versions are consistently ripping over 1,000 plays. Like, it might take a couple weeks on some of the episodes to get there, but...
Yeah, but as of late, we've been hitting 1,000 every one, like, for that week. Like, we've been sitting for the last couple of episodes, like, 2,000, 3,000, almost, if not 3,000, very close to 3,000 every single week.
Yeah, the YouTube videos have been hitting 1,000, too. It's definitely growing, so... We appreciate the hell out of everyone who's coming over and giving us another, opportunity to, interact with you guys in a more personal way, I think, personable way, where you're like kind of you're getting to know us more than just like bits and pieces of a vlog. And then also gives us, in small amounts right now, another source of income. So we appreciate you guys stopping in. If you've bought this is a great transition.
I was all over this, dude. I was waiting for you to finish talking, then I was going to tell people, listen, we got your viewership, we got your commitment. Thank you, God bless your soul. But you got to buy a lawnmower. The first presenting. Oh wait, no, is this a sponsor? You know what? Please. We're going to do a lawnmower ad first. The folks at Manscaped, listen. Manscaped is amazing. I've been working personally myself with Manscaped for coming up on 2 years now. They have some amazing products in the pipeline coming up over the next 3 months. I am not allowed to talk about them. I have been signed to a non-disclosure agreement. I haven't even told Pat about them. I will tell him after the podcast, but they're amazing. However, let's just cut straight to the facts here, people. Body hair, it's gross, it's nasty. Like when you take the Phillips razor like Pat has, so you get razor burn. That's not fun. You want to shave your body, you got to get shaving cream. What is worse? I want to talk about this for a second. What is worse on this planet than when you got a hot date, you're going to go for a business meeting, you're going to maybe record a podcast because you have a sick handlebars mustache like me, and you're giving mustache rides all month long from November like this, and you go to trim it down, you go to freshen it up, get it down to the wood, and you got no shaving cream. Okay? What are you going to do? you're gonna do nothing. You're gonna do absolutely nothing.
There was a guy in the shower the other day who had shaving cream and a razor to his balls and was just talking about how much it was stinging, how painful it was.
Bleeding.
Because it is. And you know it, yeah, and you know it doesn't sting your fucking balls and is not painful is the Manscaped, the razor, the lawnmower. It's easy. It's nice. It's soothing on your skin. It leaves you with a fresh feeling junk. And then on top of that, like it honestly proves to be a great, like I've been using it on my chest and like I have to trim my shoulders and like upper back and shit because I'm a hairy fucking animal over here. But it's been it catches all the hairs. And I know guys that are a similar situation, you try to like trim it and it just misses all the hairs. No, the Manscaped clips, it gets all the hairs. It's a nice even trim of the hair wherever you're choosing to trim.
And you know what too, on a similar note, even when you're getting those hairs, in my place here specifically, our lighting in the bathroom isn't the best. So like when you have like a flashlight, like a little light on the end, it's great for getting in wherever you want because you can really, nice. You have full light. It's great. So we will keep the ads shorter this week because my dad called me and told me, son, the ads are too long. So manscaped.com, you're going to use the promo code BIZKIT. That is B-I-Z or Z if you're in the U.S. K-I-T. B-I-Z-K-I-T. You're going to get 20% off. Free shipping, you know the drill. Me and Pat will somehow make our way down to the Manscaped factory in San Diego and ship it for you out the door. Smile on our face, and maybe you'll be our viewer of the week. So thanks to Manscaped, as always, for sponsoring the podcast and re-upping as of late. We re-upped for a couple more months, so thank you very much for everybody's support because that's not possible without you because we don't buy lawnmowers. You do. We just make the podcast and tell you about a lawnmower. So thank you to everybody. And also thanks to my dad for noticing, telling us, son, the ads are a little bit too long. We got to fix that. So anyway, we will move on to the marquee event. The reason why you probably downloaded the podcast or listened, Mr. Shea has been released. Let's talk about it.
Now that probably confuses you. It probably confuses the hell out of you because you saw me post a video about a month and a half ago, maybe, where I said I signed my first professional hockey contract. People were kind of like, "Oh, cool!" Like, "Oh, Worcester, sweet!" Like, and then I posted it like, "Oh, COVID ruined it," and there were people a little bit unclear on it. So then we made a podcast episode saying Pat Shea signed ECHL with Worcester, and this was 2 episodes ago, and I explained the situation going on there, and now you saw me just post a video, which is doing well on my channel, about me signing in Maine. And then now you see this podcast episode about me being released.
It's a roller coaster of emotions.
So you're probably like, wait, what's the order here? Did he get released from Maine already? Like, is he just getting signed and getting released like every couple days?
It's in the ECHL World Tour. It's a farewell tour.
I'm just having fun. I just missed school, like putting pen to paper, you know. I haven't been doing it much because after school you just stop using pen to paper, and I kind of miss it. So I've been just signing contracts left and right and getting released. It's a fun deal. But no, on a serious note, the situation with Worcester, I briefly explained it on my vlog, but essentially it didn't work out. Like by the time camp was over, obviously I wasn't there to show or, fight for myself. I couldn't be there. So they have way too many guys. They have to make cuts. They have to release people. So obviously me not being there, pretty easy decision to not reserve me, right? So I got released, and actually funny enough, I wasn't told.
You found it out because it was on Twitter and somebody DM'd it to me. I then texted to you. I was like, "You see, they announced you got released." He's like, "I had no idea."
Well, I think that was the same day. But a kid had messaged me and was like, "Hey, so what's your plan now?" Like, blah blah blah. I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Saw you release. What's the plan now?" I was like, "Well, this is news to me, so I'll go make a plan now."
I'm gonna go check Twitter.
So I went on, and the day prior to this, so actually when a day being released, I actually had no idea, and which I it wasn't like out of the blue. I wasn't too like shocked by it. I kind of had a feeling the team would be filled or whatever, So I then was like, shit. And then the coach actually called me that day and explained the situation and was kind of like, yeah, we're like super full. So the deal with like coast teams is if you're, and it trickles down. So if you have an NHL contract and you're playing the AHL or you get sent down to AHL, which is common, you kind of get prioritized in the AHL versus a guy who's on just an AHL contract. And then it gets trickled down. So if you're an AHL contract and you get sent down to the coast, you're then prioritized in the coast. And obviously if you're on an NHL contract in the coast, you're ultimately prioritized because they want to, the team at the top wants to develop you to try to, for they kind of choose, they want you to play.
Yeah, like you're basically like untouchable at that point.
Yeah. They see the potential in you and they want you to live up to it. They don't want to make a mistake signing, so they want you to be good. So similar with the coast, if you're on a coast contract, the AHL contracts are prioritized, and if you have too many guys sent down, if say like so the Worcester was with the Islanders, they had way too many guys sent down from their A team, and then Springfield, who I'm not even sure who their affiliate is, also had guys sent down to Worcester. So they had like a team full of AHL contracts. He already had like 4 or 5 guys on reserve and was like, hey, I want you to be on the team. I just like be patient until like I can open a spot back up, which I thought about it and I was like, whew, that could be another fucking month and a half, 2 months with all the guys that are there. And so obviously then like I'm free agent, whatever. People like saw me in the release thing, so a few teams start reaching out, and I got actually I don't even know if whatever. I got an offer from Tulsa, and I was gonna potentially go down to Oklahoma, and that's far. I'm from Mass, so Oklahoma was gonna be a trek, and I was thinking about bringing my car, and I was like, fuck, my car wouldn't make it. Yeah, RAV4 2010.
You know, it'd be funny if your wagon broke down on the side of the road and you're just out there with your thumb up and you got like a cardboard sign, Tulsa, Oklahoma training camp, East Coast to the cheeser, baby.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean the coach is a good guy. We had some good chats. It just I then got an opportunity in Maine here. Coach Gite was obviously the assistant at UMaine, and he reached out to me kind of funny, like texted me. He was like, hey, Shezo, how are things? And I'm just, yeah, good. Yourself, waiting around. Just got released, all good. And then he kind of slowly throughout the day was kind of figuring out what my plan was, what the deal was with the vaccine. And then eventually we got to the point where he had said, like, he'd love to have me up here. And then we kind of worked it out. And then they ended up a few days go by, and he goes, okay, I talked to everyone. I can get a contract for you this week, either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. I can have the contract for you. I'm like, perfect. Like, let's do that because it sounds like a good situation. Familiar face, close to home, good stuff. And then he texted me like, Monday, I'm at the gym, and he goes, hey, we can sign you today. When can you be here? Be here by 3:45? Something like that. And it was like 11. I was like, fuck. I'm like scrambling in the gym. I'm like, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can make that one, actually. And then essentially he was just like, all right, take your time. Come up tonight, and we'll get you in to all your physical shit tomorrow. So it was a pretty quick turnaround. I literally got the text, went home, packed everything up, drove up here, got in at night. And that's where I'm at now. And for the time being, at least, you never know with this league, but
with this world, it's very unpredictable.
Yeah, hopefully I can stay here and make an impact.
To rewind for a split second, you know what would have been hilarious? Because I know people are, like you mentioned, are super confused. Like, did he sign? Did he get released? Like, what's going on? Is this the World Tour? Pat actually said, you know what? I realized that my YouTube career is coming to an end. The skits thing, I'm giving up on that. The podcast with Trav has kind of been a dud. I'm going to do the World Tour. I'm going to go to every East Coast camp, make a video sign in there. I'm going to really cash out one last time. We're going to do a couple ads, and we're going to carry on. Which, speaking of ads, my bookie?
Yes. My bookie is a sponsor today. Now, this is a gambling sports
so if you're 18 or under, children, earmuffs, please. If you're 18 and over and you have a gambling problem, let us help you with that problem.
Yeah, and this is a legal. This is a completely legal site. I know a lot of online sports betting is questionable. This is a completely legal site. It's available, I think, in most states. Like, I texted a few people, and they were like, "Oh, I don't know if it's available in Mass or Maine." And then I went on in Maine, where I am now, and I was able to actually bet and do the code. So I was like, okay, it works here. So I think it's available in more places than you realize because they're following rules. It's legal. If you use my code Pat Shea, all capitals Pat Shea, you can on sign up. And Ed got confused on this. So what the deal is here, if you sign up, use my code, you plug it in, then it brings you over to a deposit page, and then you make your first deposit. So using my code now, you can get your deposit doubled. So I tested it out. I went on and I deposited $45, and then it turned into $90. And then you can use that $90 to go bet on anything you want, and you'll end up winning double of what you would have won if you could only bet the 45. Or if you bet 500, it will double it. If you deposit 500, it will double it to 1,000, and that's the limit. They'll do up to 1,000. But it's a good deal if you like betting. Tons of UFC fights on there, boxing. Obviously, the NHL, we're a hockey-based podcast.
I thought we were a UFC podcast.
You can go on and bet. Yeah, we're both. But I know fights are fun to bet on. But if you like betting on hockey or whatever sport you like, go on there and use the code, and you can bet, put your money where your mouth is, and make a good dollar while doing it. And you help out the boys. So feel free if you're into that. And thank you if you do.
So speaking of the UFC, one thing that happened to me actually about a week ago, funny enough, Jorge Masvidal, one of Pat's favorite fighters, probably my favorite fighter at the moment in the UFC. Really loving the Masvidal. Just forget about the fights, just the personality, the 4-piece and the soda going to glide on out of there, all that stuff. That's my favorite stuff. And so the other day at practice, I made like 4 saves in like a 3-second burst combination. And I told one of the guys, like, Moosey, that's the 4-piece combo, buddy. 4-piece and a soda, discount the fries, give you a free dip. Welcome to the show, kid. And so I took that. I posted on Instagram. I'm a Masvidal fan. I don't even care if he sees it. I tagged him. And then I went to bed. I woke up the next morning. Why does my reel have 80,000 views?
It's a good reel.
I looked at it, and like, I'm honest with myself when I post these things. I'm like, that's not 80,000 views. Like, that's not funny. I mean, it's funny, but it's not that funny. Yeah, I looked at it. Yeah. Masvidal liked it. Okay. All right. Cool. He saw that. That's pretty awesome. I looked in the comment section. Masvidal commented, "Let's fucking go." That's what he put in the comment section. My dad's going to yell at me for cussing. That's what he said, Dad. This is what this UFC fighter put
you're just quoting.
In the comment section. Just quoting. Guy's got 3 million followers on Instagram, and he saw this. I took the time out of his day to comment it. I'm like,
yeah.
So did I get 80,000 views because it was funny or because he commented on it? And I checked his story. It was the thing he reposted. He reposted my Instagram reel that day, and I got 80,000 views. And then so I was like, dude, I got to send him a message. So I sent him a message. I'm like, just thank you very much. You're probably not going to see this because I can only imagine how many DMs the guy gets, but just thank you for being a man of the people and responding. He responds to my DM, and he just says, "Thank you very much for the love, brother. Appreciate the support, blah, blah, blah." And then I texted Pat. I'm like, oh my God, this guy just DM'd me back. What do? Do I try to get on the podcast, or do I try to just like build a relationship? Be like, so, how's your day going? Is everything all good? So then Pat's like, shoot your shot, see if you can get on the podcast. So I was like, hey, can we get you on the podcast? Would like to get you sometime the next 2 months. He sent me to his management company, who then got me in touch with his agent, or like his specific manager, who I then emailed and never heard back from. So hopefully Jorge's management will get back to me sometime soon.
You got to comment in DM. I think that's awesome. It's pretty sick. It's cool when you see like a person of that, celebrity status, who's one of the biggest draws in the UFC, in him in particular, but of that celebrity status, who will make time for someone. Now, given you did DM him and you jump right to the top of his request because you do have 30,000 plus followers and a verified mark, but
I
do jump up there.
The guys that are DMing him though have like 100,000, a million. Like, I'm assuming real fighters are messaging him.
Yes, real fighters who are already in his DMs though. Like they're not popping in the request because he probably like already talks to them. But either way, he made time for you, you know, and which is cool. I think the more we like kind of view like that guy, you have to like put in perspective. Like he's just a normal guy who's really good at what he does, you know. Like so when you're at celebrity status or whatever, and you just act like you're too cool for people who support you or are like a fan of you, I think that's kind of scummy. So shout out to Jorge for being cool.
Well, two parts to that. One, here's a guy that I like and that I enjoy, that I'm a genuine fan of, and that like he's just some guy that I see on TV. Like I don't know him from a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Geez, I gotta edit that out.
Hacking up a lung.
Jesus,
Smoker's
smoked 3 packs this morning, man.
Quit those darts, brother.
Sorry, I gotta quit the stogies. So anyway, a fan, the guy that I just enjoy. I don't really know him, but he bridged that gap. He messaged me back. He went out of his way, and like in my mind, like I do some math in my head. Like I have 30,000 followers. I know what 30,000 followers looks like on a busyness level. I don't know if that's even a word.
Yeah.
But like I know how many DMs I get. I get a decent amount of DMs every day. I get tags. I get like all this stuff. Times that by 3, times that by 100. That's Jorge Masvidal, and I'm thinking like how would you even see that? And he went out of his way to reply and give me 3 messages, 3 DMs he hit me back with, and that 8 seconds each that it took him to send both those or all those messages is going to get me to buy his pay-per-view and be a fan for life. Like, look, I called you, I called my mom, I called my dad. I'm telling people on this podcast, this is an amazing dude.
Sick.
That guy took 20 seconds to get some amazing free PR. When you charge kids for podcasts and media appearances and, you send your wife after Trav and you get your wife to go and tell Trav that he's a scumbag and he should be ashamed and that she's broke, that is how you get people to not like you. I'm so sorry. I couldn't help myself. I'm so sorry.
You and your beef with the boy.
Sorry. Anyway, we're going to move on.
It's never ending.
We're going to move on. Speaking of UFC and politics, you want to talk about Bettman, Kyle Beech kind of thing? People were asking us to talk about this.
Let's, because it's a hockey related thing, and obviously it's a popping topic.
Let's be very clear before we start about this. So a lot of people were asking, hey, I'm curious if you guys are going to talk about Bettman, about Kyle Beech, about the Blackhawks, and I have zero interest in talking about like sexual assault in that manner. That is what it is, despite what the online world says. I am not in favor of it, and I don't want to get into that because like we could be here for days talking about that. I just want to talk about like the hockey side of things.
I think you should clarify too, because I was scrolling through like Puck Empire, I think it was, those comments where you were getting ripped, and there's people on there commenting like, "Oh, Trav, like what did Trav do? Like blah blah blah," and they're like, "Oh, he's supporting the Blackhawks against Beekman. Is it Beekman?
Kyle Beech. Sorry, Kyle Beech.
Beech.
Yeah,
Beech. He's supporting the Blackhawks against Beech, like in the situation, blah blah blah." So I was kind of like looking back to see, and all I saw you comment was that like, "Oh, the NHL doesn't care." So I'm like, wait, what? He never supported the Blackhawks. So
yeah,
I want to clarify and let you clarify that too.
Yeah, let me clarify that for a sec. So first off, am I defending Blackhawks? I guess we'll get into that in a sec. But no, like if you look at the whole story, there's a lot of things that were done wrong on on Kyle Beech's part, on the Blackhawks' part, on the NHL's part, on his teammates. Like everybody, like you have to have a lot of screw ups for like something like this to happen, for it to come to light the way that it did. Like nothing was handled perfectly, otherwise, or nothing was handled well, otherwise it wouldn't have came to light the way that it did. Is kind of the point. Also, I get people messaging me like on a weekly basis that are like, dude, like you're a Nazi, like you're the hockey version of Hitler. Like so, some of these, dude, I've had death threats and like career-ending threats from guys in the Fed recently. I don't know if we talked about this. I've talked about how like I'd like to. Oh, we haven't talked about this. Okay, never mind. So let's talk about this real quick.
Hold on, let's. Should we wait? Talk about Beech?
Just to like justify, like the internet is a crazy place where people can say whatever they want. So for example, when guys in the Fed message me and are like, dude, if you ever play in this league, I will end your career. I will take out your knees. I will run you and I will come find you after the game. If you ever play in this league, the internet has a lot of tough guys out there is what I'm trying to say.
What the fuck?
When people come out there and are like, Trav, is in favor of what happened to Kyle Beech. Like, no, like get some hobbies in your life and find some Jesus, find some Christ or some religion or something. Anyway, let's move on.
Find something more than like trying to hate on someone else or stir the pot about someone else. Like
it's ridiculous.
Do something for yourself, boys. Not that people listening to this are doing that. Obviously, if you're listening to this, you're typically a supporter of ours. But
maybe they are. But anyway, do you want to start with Beech or do you want to start with Batman or the Hawks?
Yeah, let's talk about because it's a popping topic, even though it's not like a fun one to talk about. Yeah, let's give our take on it. Obviously the whole thing is just fucked. Like I remember a story popped out and I think you talked about it to me and it wasn't like there was no name of it. And then he finally recently came out and said like he was the player, blah, blah, blah. And I heard the story and like my friend read like the article to me and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like that is the most fucked up thing I've ever heard. Like never would have thought in a million years that like would go on anywhere. Never mind. Like that's shit you see in a movie. Do you think is just like made up? But the fact that it actually happened is just fucked. Like that was like my initial thing. I was like, holy shit. I can understand why that guy would not tell people or like not announce it, because that's, if you're in that position, like you would feel pretty shitty or like humiliated probably.
Absolutely.
Like that's a tough thing to like then go be like, okay guys, this happened, and then everyone's like, look, there's a lot of people look at you like, oh, you let him do that. Like no, it's a little more difficult than just like, oh, he let him do that. I think it's like when someone's threatening your life, you're kind of whatever. No one really knows the exact situation he was in, but
because the other guy's in jail,
completely fucked. Completely fucked. If like the team, and I think it's coming out that the team knew, it's pretty established that they knew, the coach knew, and the league knew. And the fact that they just like put it under, just like put it away and buried it and thought that it would never come to light is just.
I think the part that stands out to me is when it first came out, and Bettman's like, "Don't worry, nothing's gonna come of this. This is airtight. We have the situation under control." And then obviously, you fast forward however many months, it's like, well, Gary, you had nothing under control. You had no idea what was going on, and you still wear those Skechers shoes. Like,
that guy needs to go,
dude. Like, Batman. First off, like, the guy is so anti-Canadian hockey, and I don't care what anybody says. Like, the guy has literally gone out of his way to grow the Southern game, which is great. It's great that hockey's growing in the South, because I've gotten to experience hockey and that lifestyle in the South of the USA. But he's so anti-Canadian hockey, where hockey's from, like, and that pisses me off as a Canadian. And also, like, he's just such a dink. He's just a genuine dink. He doesn't care about the game.
He seems like a loser.
Yeah, and he doesn't care about the game. And I think we've hit the nail on the head how many times, is that the game isn't exciting anymore. Like the way that the game has turned into, like, media-wise, where like you can't show any personality, you can't have any character. Like Kyle Beech situation, you can't come forward with that kind of stuff, or you're gonna lose your job. You're gonna be shamed. Like all these consequences. The hockey culture. Say what you want. Gary Bettman, I think, has enabled this hockey culture by continuing to do what he does in the 100%. Media, by suppressing guys' personality. Like you mentioned on the podcast a couple episodes, or I guess a couple months ago, like Elias Pettersson wants to make a little vlog, wants to have some personality, can't do it. NHL says, see you later. That's not going to work. Like the NFL, very exciting to me. The UFC, where Dana White, say what you want about the guy, he doesn't give a damn. Guys can do whatever you want. He lets him fly. And I would say,
because he knows it brings in eyes.
He knows it brings in eyes. It grows the brand. And name me a sport, name me a pro, sports league in the last 2 years that's grown more than the UFC. I'll wait. You know what I mean? You
you see, like McGregor, when McGregor does stupid shit, and he does often, and he says stupid shit. You don't see Dana trying to say, "Hey, don't tweet, stop tweeting, don't do that," because he knows whether or not it's like it looks bad in his part. He knows that it's going to get people talking and bring people in. Yeah, and that's the reality. Like McGregor at times is tweeting and making a fool of himself, but hell no, absolutely. Dana should not tell him to stop tweeting. You fucking tell him to tweet more. It's bringing in attention. That's where hockey differs.
One of the funniest things I saw Dana say was when they're like the Khabib McGregor thing, and I think Jimmy Kimmel was asking him, he's like, did you tell Connor to do this to get arrested, to grow to fight? He's like, no, I didn't tell him to get arrested, but I'm also not going to tell him to stop because it's great for selling the fight. The guy literally got arrested trying to kill the guy. You not want to watch the pay-per-view? By the way, you can buy it on October 6th.
That caused the biggest the biggest UFC pay-per-view.
Biggest pay-per-view, biggest gate, biggest everything in UFC history. Sorry, we're getting a little bit off topic here.
Back to the, I guess, the NHL and the Blackhawks. I think that just shows that there's a lot of issue. We don't know all the details or whatever, but the fact that like even Taves has come out since and said that like he found out. He's like, oh, I didn't know until the next year. We're like, we still knew, which is weird, you know? You kinda, like he was trying to like back or like defend himself that he didn't know until the next year. But I don't know. The fact it just seems really fishy, the whole situation, that, you know, when Kane claims he didn't know, or that he didn't know who it was, he heard something happen but didn't know who it was, and the fact that it just all got buried obviously is a lot in the wrong.
The part that really kind of
really say about
the part that kind of scares me more. Well, I don't even know if you want to say scares me, but like you have the whole team who, at least as of right now, you know, recording this podcast, something could change because things change, but the management seems to have known what was going on. Like, you know, Quenneville, Shevel. I don't know if Sheveldayoff knew, but Bowman, all those guys. But then the players are like, I had no idea, or I found out later, or I knew, but I didn't want to say it. I think there's, I could be wrong, but I believe there's about 4 guys who knew what was going on at the time. You got Kane, who said, I knew later. And the rest of the guys like, I had no idea that this was happening to Beecher. We love Beecher. I think part of the biggest problem with that is you have guys that knew. You have, you know, Patrick Kane who learned later, and we're talking about a star in the game at this point in time. It still is. You know, one of the best players in the world doesn't want to come forward and say something because the culture will, you know, reprimand you. Like, how dare you, you know, bring that to light? Then you're the problem.
Although, you know? Although in that situation, man, I don't think anyone would have a problem with him.
Sorry, let me rephrase it, because I think
no, but you're right. You're right in a sense, but that's probably why those guys didn't, because they don't want to be the guy who tells.
The biggest problem, I think, is that, okay, let's say Patrick Kane or somebody comes forward and brings that up, and okay, now it's in the media, now we're going to resolve this today. Well, you know, whoever's going to be booted out is great, but Patrick Kane is going to still be in the league, and we're talking like a middle of the pack player, like right in the middle of that bell curve kind of guy. And although the NHL GMs will say that, you know, we support this, we're glad guys are coming forward. Like, come on. Do you not see the league Bettman's running? Do you not see the hockey culture? You don't think those 32 NHL GMs go behind closed doors and say, you know what? Kaner or whoever was the guy who went, you know, was the whistleblower in the situation. Do I want that on my team? Do I want the bad PR? Although, granted, it should never be happening in the first place because they don't want the bad PR because they're selfish and all they care about is money. They don't want that happening, which is why the people that are getting all pissed off at me online that when I kept commenting saying the NHL doesn't actually care that this happened to Kyle Beech. The NHL actually doesn't give a shit that the Blackhawks are covering this up.
Clearly.
The only thing that they care about is the money in their pockets and the fact that sponsors are saying, listen, we're pulling the pin, Gary. We're not going to support this. That money's coming out of the NHL's pockets because people don't want to support the Blackhawks. And, you know, whether this happened or came to the light or not, they're still trending towards the 2004 Blackhawks where you had 15 people in the rink. You had more people at a Varberg Vipers game for one of my home games than with the Blackhawks. It's like, that's the problem, is they only care about the money. They don't actually care about the people being involved.
No, I think it's pretty clear that they don't care because the fact that they knew and buried it just says that they didn't care. Now they're going to pretend they care, but if they knew, then I mean, I don't know.
They're not even doing a good job of pretending. Like, they're doing a terrible job of pretending they care.
It's just, it's clearly a lot of fishy stuff. We can't speak on what details were known and what weren't known, but all that's pretty evident is that there was a lot of people that knew and that are in the wrong.
Absolutely.
And obviously the situation itself that happened is just fucked.
You know, there's some things in the hockey culture that I personally really do enjoy. I love the atmosphere in the locker room. I love the atmosphere. You know, you and I talked about it with Wallstead the other week. You know, the shower guy. Just like, there's a lot of really, really good things in the hockey world. I'm serious. There's some things in the hockey world that are amazing and just make hockey what it is. Yeah. And then you have the bullshit like that literally ruins it, and you wonder why people are going on, you know, mainstream television saying hockey is the problem. Hockey players, the hockey media, the hockey culture is the problem. Why do you think in high schools and in universities hockey players get the reputation they do? Because of shit like this.
And I think, who said it? Taylor Hall kind of said it when someone was like, "Oh, do you think hockey culture needs to change?" And he was like, "Well, I think all culture needs to change. It's not just hockey." specifically. Like, yes, obviously hockey culture, it's such a, I feel like it's kind of a, I don't know, cheesy word, but it's true. Like, hockey, like, needs to change, but also just, it's not, it's football or whatever, too. Like, it's a similar vibe. Like, if you get a group of guys, like a fraternity too, it's the same type shit. It all is grouped together that needs to, like, change. But you'll see guys like, who's Carcillo, like, he's coming out and speaking against, like, shit that happened in juniors and stuff, and how it's all fucked and needs to change. All of this shit beforehand, before social media, was just buried. No one would ever know. Like, it was all hush. If you told you were fucking, you're a pussy, essentially. And I'm not calling you a pussy. I'm saying if you told in the eyes of the people around you or in your own mind, you'd be a pussy. So that's obviously something that needs change.
Well, why don't we transition from a league that doesn't care about its players or care about people to a brand of underwear that does, and to a podcast, and to two guys on a podcast that want you in the best.
We care.
Sheath underwear. Pat, tell them about it, because I'm going to unbox this on the video version of the podcast on YouTube.
Sheath underwear. Oh, wow. Have you changed my life? Before I had sheath underwear, I felt lost, no direction. I really just woke up and walked around every day not feeling comfortable in my own skin, and I wasn't really sure why. High school. I think back to high school. I'm walking down the hallway. Every time I'm walking, I felt uncomfortable and insecure if someone was looking at me. In college, I'm at the dining hall. I'm going up to get food. Scared. What do people think? I don't feel comfortable. Then, one day, I think it was about 4 or 5 months back, Sheath Underwear sends their underwear to me in the mail. And I put them on, and all of a sudden my whole life changed. I could walk out in public feeling comfortable and confident in my own skin. In fact, I felt more than confident and comfortable in my own skin. And I think that's just a reflection of how comfortable the underwear are, because it lets your balls and your dick all feel comfortable and in place and held. It's like a firm little glove, you know. They're just being cradled nicely in the underwear, versus getting a wedgie up in there and, you know, maybe having to pull it out in public, in school, constantly having to adjust your balls.
There is nothing worse than being the waistband guy.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the waistband guy.
Yeah, you don't want to be the waistband
but
guy.
You could be the sheath guy.
I want to be the shower guy.
Sheath guy. That's who you want to be. You want to be the sheath guy.
The sheath. I want to be the sheath guy, not the waistband guy.
Now, listen, folks. We're going to throw a time on the clock, because my dad will again call me and tell me, son, the rounds are taking a little bit too long. We're going to nail it in about 2 minutes or less, Dad. We got the coolant technology in the sheath underwear. We got the pouch to compartmentalize everything, and it'll segregate your balls and your jimmy better than society in Canada is with this vaccine passport. Let me tell you, they're doing a great job. Sheath does an even better job. I'm telling you right now. And you're going to go to sheathunderwear.com.
Great underwear.
Use the promo code BIZKIT69. Look at this. You see my underwear on the top of my head? This is what could be happening at 69 to you this weekend if you get a pair of sheath underwear. The promo code BIZKIT69, sheathunderwear.com. Dad, how was that for timing? That must have been like 30 seconds. That was pretty fast.
That was good. On to our
should
next...
Should I leave my hat the way that it is for the rest of the podcast? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely you should. So what should we end it with? I know there's a couple things, like there's the Eichel trade, there's the Astro World concert, there's the UFC event, there's...
Also, a little side note. I wanted to talk about my dad for a quick second. So my dad calls me the other day.
Yeah.
And I'm cooking, right? And my dad says to me, he's like, son, I made this pizza the other night. It was amazing. It was piping hot right out of the oven. I just devoured it. And I said, did you take the pizza out of the oven again and just directly from the oven to your mouth? He said, yeah, I love it piping hot. I said,
burn his whole mouth?
I'm going to get into that for a second. I said, Dad, why do you do that? He's like, well, as I've gotten older, I can't taste things the way that I used to. The flavor's not there, the spiciness. So I like it nice and hot. I like it nice and piping hot. And boy, it was a good sign. It was really moist too. I said, yeah, because you put a 500-degree pizza in your mouth. That was blood. That was the blood in your mouth moistening the pizza. That's what you were tasting.
Odd.
Like, come on, Dad. Like, you gotta let it cool. You gotta let it relax. Let the dough relax and enjoy the pizza. Enjoy the fruit of your loins, not the fruit of the loom, the sheath underwear. That's what you got to enjoy in life here.
Yeah, the whole thing. That's interesting. He just that probably ruins his taste.
It probably makes it worse.
Probably just burns them off. Yeah.
It just melts. No wonder you can't taste it.
His whole life he's just been taking a pizza out of the oven, is burning his taste buds off.
Right off the stone.
Can't taste anything
right
anymore.
Into the gullet.
That's fucking hilarious. You know that pain though, like when you don't let the pizza cool down, it burns your skin off. It's painful, man. I can't imagine.
Most people stop. My dad just kept going.
Yeah, most people are like, ow, 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 but no, he's a hard-working man. He starts something, he's finishing
my dad's
it.
like that 8,000 grit sandpaper, just gets right down to the grain there, right down to the wood. But anyway, Dad, I love you, and I'll talk to you soon, Dad. I'll give you a call after the podcast. Anyway, what do we have on the agenda?
Should we talk about the Eichel situation?
Yeah, let's do the Eichel situation.
I think they did not trade nearly enough for him.
I love how they're sitting around for how many months and like, yeah, you know, we're gonna try to get maximum value here. You know, we're not gonna just sell a guy for a 7th round pick. And what do they sell him for? Like a 7th round pick, a 1st round pick. By the way, Winnipeg kid, Caden Krebs from the Winnipeg Ice, and then who else did they send over?
Well, don't get me wrong, Alex Tuck, right? He is
yes.
He is a 1st round pick, I believe, at one time. But is he the level of Eichel? No. And
what they said they were going to hold out for. No.
Yeah, essentially, because there was talks of like Tkachuk being involved in the trade, like Calgary maybe. There was a lot of hype of like, okay, they might even trade straight up like big name, one big name for Eichel, you know, and they traded Tuck, who's a good, consistent NHL player, but is he that like franchise guy like Eichel could be? No,
I don't think so.
He's 139 points, 255 games, which very good, very very good. But Eichel's a point per game guy. He's a star, you know. So when you look at it in that way, I don't think Buffalo got nearly enough of what they could have got, which is weird that they settled for.
You listen to the Spit and Chicklets exclusive interview talking to him after? No?
I started to, and I forgot to finish it. Fill me in. So
there was one point that really stuck out to me where he said, I told Buffalo over the summer, if you let me get the surgery that I want, I will put everything behind us, and I will come play for the Sabres and be proud to be a Sabre. Just let me get the surgery that I want. And they said no. Like that right there confirmed for me that, okay, the whole world has said that the Buffalo Sabres are a joke and how they handle guys, how they treat injuries, all this kind of stuff. Maybe there's a little bit of hope. Maybe the Jack Eichel situation, maybe Jack's the problem. You know what I mean? Because you hear all these rumors and stuff. That there confirmed that, okay, Jack was not the problem. The Buffalo Sabres are the problem because this is how many players that have gone on with the same spiel about this.
I saw another interview of how it like initially started, like the bad blood, was because he went in after a good season, like he had a good season, and he went in, they were like talking about starting a rebuilding phase again, do another rebuild. And he heard this. So he went in, he said, hey, if we're going to be like doing another rebuilding phase, maybe it's best that you move me and to do your rebuilding phase and not use me. Like he obviously he's a competitive guy, wants to win the Stanley Cup. So he's like, if you're going to do this rebuilding phase, maybe it's most beneficial for both of us to trade me. And they were apparently very insulted by it. And that's how it started. But then like they ended up trading for Taylor Hall or signing Taylor Hall. Like they had a on paper nasty team and they just did fucking terrible. And obviously there was a lot of beef going on behind the scenes about his surgery. But very, very interesting that they would, because I feel like it's a pretty reasonable like request or suggestion. Like if you guys are going to do a rebuild, maybe trade me. Like I feel like that's a pretty reasonable thing to say. I don't know. They got offended.
If we could kind of like bring it back to the whole hockey culture thing, like Eichel's been like, my body, my choice. Let me get the surgery that I want. Valid point. NHL doesn't care. Players that are like, I don't want the vaccine, my body, my choice. Well, okay, that's fine, but we're gonna fine you, and you will not get paid. Have fun, sucker. Like the hockey culture is a joke, and Buffalo specifically.
Do it.
Yeah. See, there you go. Vegas is a fun team. The Slangin The Bizkit team. The Slangin The Bizkit team is a fun team. This is a fun podcast, and we do a new episode every Thursday, my friends. YouTube, the video version. Give us a check out on YouTube. The YouTube version is popping. We are Probably about 150 subs away from getting monetized on YouTube, which is exciting.
Hell yeah.
Basically,
keep subbing. If you're watching this right now, sub. You watch this far and you're not subscribed, subscribe. Don't think about it. Just do it.
Yeah. Do yourself a favor too.
No.
You could just turn on the YouTube version and listen to that, and boom. You could also take it out of your pocket, and boom, now you're watching. You could also go on the Apple version, the Spotify version,
boom.
Stitcher,
I want you in my room.
Any of the other podcasting platforms, you can give us a listen. But every Thursday, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Winnipeg time, 5 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. if you're in Sweden. Now that we're back to the regular time zone change, Patrick and I will be on regularly. By the way, just want to give you a quick little tease to those that are still listening. We have some very exciting guests coming up. Callie Klang, who has suddenly become my best friend overnight. Just kidding. Wallsted's arch nemesis for the Swedish national team that he talked about on the podcast. He's been hooking me up with tickets. He's going to be coming on the podcast sometime soon, later this month, he said. Also, Ilya Brizgalov is going to be coming on the podcast. Confirmed through his son. Briz wants to come on the podcast, hopefully this month, if not next month. I'm also waiting to hear back on Sean Avery. Sean Avery said he will come on the podcast next month or end of this month. And then waiting on Masvidal. J-Bone, Jay Broder, Pat Shea's brand new teammate, said he will come on the podcast pending approval. I don't think we need approval anymore because his teammate is on the podcast. His teammate owns the podcast. Slangin The Bizkit. Help us out. Get a Manscaped lawnmower. Get some sheath underwear. Support Pat. Use the my bookie code. And any final words, my friend? Otherwise, we'll see everybody on Thursday. Cap us off, Pat. Take us home.
Just God bless, whatever God you believe in. And just eat your green beans. Eat your green beans and vegetables. And hit your macros this week.
We'll see you next time on the podcast. Thanks for listening. What a podcast. This is the greatest podcast in the world.